So there we go. We are recording. So hi there. Hi, Claire. Lovely to see you.
Hiya.
I hope you're well.
I hope you're good too. I'm good.
All good. Good, good. Been really looking forward to getting to speak with you and chat with you and just to connect. We can like learn a little bit more about each other and obviously promote ourselves a little bit over our YouTube channels as well, which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about. We'll do a little bit of an introduction, I think. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Claire, who you are, your company, what you do?
Yeah, I'm Claire Thackray and I run and own Healing for Ascension, which is holistic therapies, shamanic healing and Reiki, mentoring, land and house clearing, tarot reading, so crystal ball reading as well. So I'm a shamanic practitioner, Reiki master, clairvoyant, psychic mystic, intuitive, whatever you want to call it. Got a YouTube channel, Instagram channel, Telegram channel, Facebook channel, all around really.
As you need to these days. I think the thing that I find that we try and tell people is to step away from technology and not use it as much and not be as absorbed. But in this day and age, how do you get yourself out there? It seems quite impossible, really.
Yeah, no, it is impossible. It is impossible without social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
And especially with censorship and stuff as well, it's getting really difficult to talk about certain things.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I mean, gone are the days, I think, of leaflets and flyers and business cards and everything, like you say, is in the palm of people's hand now, just to hook into the matrix, I suppose. So yeah, quite a broad spectrum of things that you do as well. So it'd be nice to try and dip into a little bit of that. For anyone that doesn't know myself, obviously we're going to share these videos across our own YouTube channels, but my name's Ian Robinson and I'm a Reiki master in the north of England, and I use crystals, I use shamanic tools as well alongside the healing sessions, and I like to go around and help people if they need rooms cleansing or just need the energy lifting, just with some of these various shamanic tools as well, things like sage and Palo Santo, and obviously using Reiki energy as well to bless the spaces with, because it's such a diverse tool, really. And that's me. I mean, I have the website, which is reikizen.co.uk. I too have the YouTube channel, which this will be going on, which is called Reiki Zen. I've started branching out into my art. So I've got Reiki Zen Art, which is an Instagram page, but most of it now is getting posted just to my Reiki Zen pages and my Reiki Zen on Facebook page as well. So yeah, again, it's kind of, I have a Telegram as well and a Telegram group. So yeah, again, like me, it's kind of like there's bits all over the place. But yeah, it's been quite a journey getting to this point, and quite difficult. And I think you'll probably find yourself that this, it is hard to kind of maintain your level of balance and zen, really, when you've got so much going on. How do you manage?
How do I manage? Meditation, grounding, reading books, exercise. And I know it sounds strange, but I think stepping away from all of this as well, so having other interests, because I think it can get really intense. And just coming back to the 3D world. I know that sounds random, but because coming back to the 3D world, because sometimes some of the stuff out there, it can be like, wow, this is mind-blowing, really mind-blowing. Not just the global stuff, but your own internal stuff. And it's just coming back, Netflix, just coming back to life, doing the housework, just ironing, just bringing ourselves back, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I find obviously going into nature and walking and meditation are all obviously real great ways of working with my own energy, and but I also find, like you say, things like housework are really, really good, and I like to stick my headphones in and sing along to some music just to work on my own energy and my own vibration. And again, I think housework is very, very grounding, because like you say, it brings you into the 3D realm. We're not constantly working on, I suppose, a higher level of consciousness, because it can be, for our physical bodies, it's quite exhausting and can be tiring. So like you say, it's important to step away from that.
Yeah, because I suppose it's like the tree of life. In order to go up, you've got to be able to come down as well. So if you spend too much time wherever up there is, it can, like you say, it can make you so tired and it can disorientate you. So it's nice to just come down and just ground. Maybe that's a video with that as well. To anchor, not anchor in 3D, because you don't want to anchor in 3D, but to not push push life away. Life is, you need to go out and enjoy yourself. You need to just do human things.
Yeah. It's all about, really, I suppose, with going into Reiki and shamanic circles, I suppose it's almost it's always, I mean, energy is everything, as we always say, and it's about constantly working with your own energy and just that daily maintenance and rooting that energy as well, because you can be quite, I always say it in my videos as well, that you can become so sort of up here that down here becomes so like unstable, and you kind of easily whisked away. So it's very important to keep that grounding. So tell me, how did you start your journey? Where did you, the Claire Thackray, the Reiki master, the shamanic healer, the cleanser, where did it all start? I can imagine it's gone for many years.
Yeah, it's gone through many years. Well, my awakening journey started in 2009. My life just fell apart. I was attacked sexually, so my life just fell apart. And I went into drinking heavily, depression, anxiety, self-sabotage. And that went on for a few years until I reached 30. And then it was like a light bulb moment of, how long are you going to go down this route? You know, what example are you giving to the next generation? Because we have nieces coming into the family, and it's like they're going to see this trauma dancing. Family party just sat crying and just being traumatized all the time. When you're going to pull yourself together and just get a grip of your life. So I went on to antidepressants, but I also started counselling at the same time. And I gradually started to come off the antidepressants. And I think at the time it was the guides that obviously I didn't know about them at the time, but looking back, I got these visions and feelings of, you've been on them a while, you've settled down, now gradually start to come off of them with your counselling. And I went through all that, and then life settled out a bit. And I obviously met my husband, Gary, and we got married. And just before we got married, the person that attacked me, because I used to work with this person, came back to the workplace. And basically I was told, there's nothing we can do about him. He brings in a lot of money to the institution, and if you don't like it, there's the door. And this was like a couple of weeks before my wedding. So I went on sick, got married, and we went on honeymoon to New York and North America on a cruise. We went on Queen Mary 2, so we sailed over the Atlantic. And literally my crown chakra and third eye just blew open. And I'd never experienced, I was Reiki attuned because I'd done it years ago, but I'd never practiced. And it just blew my mind. I was seeing spirit. I mean, some of the stuff. First one was, we set sail and we were gone about 2 days. And I said to Gary, I says, we're near the Titanic. And he says, we can't make, we can't make, maybe 3-4 days, fair enough, but not 2 days. There's no one near Titanic. That night we went for a walk on deck, and we actually both saw a sailor from that time walking on the ship deck. Wow. And we both like turned around at the same time, and we saw him coming up behind us, and we just ran in.
You both, like, what the hell?
We both saw him, yeah. And we just like, what the hell was that? We knew it was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And day after, it was captain's address, and he comes on at 12 o'clock and he says, this evening, 7 p.m, we're going to be sailing around the Titanic. Wow. And it was nuts. I was sensing energy. I was seeing, it was just unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable. And on the way back, I was sat on deck with the glass window, and I was looking up at the sky. So obviously the sailing back were going the same way, and I could actually see Edwardian men and women, children, spirit in the clouds from the Titanic. And I was like, this is nuts. These clothes, everything. And I was like, I'm by that point I actually thought I was cracking up.
Yeah.
But once we'd got into New York, it was the first time I'd been to US, so first time in New York, and I was a bit, not overwhelmed. And we went on a bus tour, and we got to Dakota Building where John Lennon lived and where he got shot. and a little corner of Central Park, which is called Strawberry Field. We got off the coach and we got into the garden, and everybody was taking the pictures, and just as tourists do, and I just stood there, and John Lennon came in, as literally as though he was walking beside me.
Wow.
And I wasn't a John Lennon fan. Now, if it had been Marilyn Monroe, Jackie Kennedy, Princess Diana, that kind, then I'd have thought maybe I've been imagining this. But John Lennon, and it was so strong. And he was just giving me these downloads about what happened, etc. The end, what really happened, about what he feels about this garden. And I'm walking around this garden, and it's like everyone was just click, 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 click. And I thought, you can't see this. You can't see it. It was just crazy. Then we went to Ground Zero, which is where Twin Towers was. And I'd always believed the narrative on that.
Right.
And we literally stepped on, and this spirit, ghost, being, energy came forward. And I can look at the pictures and pinpoint her. And she said to me, it was all very convenient. And it was just like my crown just went. And it was like, oh my God. And as I was walking around, I was getting these, what I now know as downloads about that event, yes, etc. What away from the narrative, what really happened.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is just nuts. And I started with this awful thing of being really thirsty, and I couldn't speak, and I got drier and drier and drier. And we got round to the other side, and I said to Gary, I said, I need some water, and I need it now, because I've never known, my throat was just bone dry. And luckily we came out, and there was one of those vendors then, they were selling water. And I literally downed bottle after bottle of water. And afterwards, I found out of some of my watchers on YouTube from the US that a lot of the people that were there when the buildings fell, a lot of the dust, they swallowed a lot of the dust, like the emergency services. Right. And for days afterwards, they still had dust in the mouth, which made it dry. And because of the shock as well, when you shock it, your throat dries up. It was awful. And that was just... So we came back, and I handed my notice in off my job, just walked away. I'd been there 17 years, walked away, and I said, I'm going to retrain, and I'm going to train in makeup. I never trained in makeup. It never happened. I contacted a local healer, started doing Reiki, got all my Reiki attunements again. And she said to me, the issue, because I said, I want to do psychic development. And she said, you don't need to do psychic development. She said, the issue we've got with you is your crown chakra is just... We need to now train you how to switch it off and to just settle it down, because it's just literally it's just blown open.
Constant information and download, which can be so overwhelming. It's interesting that you mentioned John Lennon, because I got total shivers all over my body, because a couple of years ago I had an Akashic reading, and I was the same as you. I was never really into John Lennon. I was never into his music. But she actually said that the energy of John Lennon and David Bowie want to work with you. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know why, because I didn't really enjoy the music or anything like that. I always thought it was a bit too far out there for me. But then just before Christmas last year, I was walking one of the dogs around the park, and all I kept getting was the words of imagine. Over and over and over. And I could not get them out of my head. And I'm just like, this is a message. This is a message, like, for me to now give sort of, I suppose, the okay to John Lennon, to that energy. If he wants to work with me, then, work with me. And it was so overwhelming, just like this constant, imagine all the people, just over and over again, and how much relevance that has now on the world today. And obviously why the system wanted to remove him, because of his message of peace and love and harmony and humanity and togetherness. So that when you said that about John Lennon, I was just like, maybe that's this connection that I feel between us, and that's why I want to do this, just to maybe find out a little bit more. That's all I can think of, maybe where that's from. But wow, I mean, what a hell of awakening. I mean, I know some people have quite subtle awakenings, and it sort of just gently integrates them into that higher realm of reality. But to go through such such stuff that you've been through. And like you say, with the third eye being so awake, it's funny that I was drawn to hold lapis for this video today as well. So obviously third eye.
I've got it on, it's on my necklace as well.
You've got it on as well.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
on my necklace.
that's weird.
Strange, isn't it?
So wow. So how did all that then affect to bring you? Obviously, you went in to do your Reiki attunements once again, and then how did you get into sort of shamanic healing and down that road as well?
Yeah, it was actually Gary, my husband, that had shamanic healing. He was the first one to have it, and I went and I watched his session, and I was just blown away by what came up: past lives, trauma, energies that he needed to heal and release, etc. Objects in his energy field from past lives where he'd been stabbed, etc. And it just blew me away. And I was sat there and I thought I should be doing that.
Yeah.
And then I had healing, and then the stuff that was lifted and removed, and honestly, it just blew me away. And what got me was how it changed my life. And I thought, this is stuff that is out there if you know it's out there.
Yeah.
But it's not out there. It's, you know, the importance of not having entities, the importance of chips that can be in you, past lives, curses, past life curses that are still playing out, generational curses, objects in your energy field. You know, if you've been, I mean, I was told as well, I had, you know, one of those fighting poles. I call them a fighting pole. It's got like a spear at the end of it.
Right, yeah.
Right up my lower back, right up my spine and out of my mouth in a past life. And there was a javelin stick in the side from a jousting stick.
Yeah.
I used to get real severe pain in those areas.
Right.
And I could feel her pulling these out.
Attachment to that energy still with you. Wow.
I could feel her pulling it out. And it was like, you could just feel it. It's just amazing. And blocks and cords and soul contracts and
yeah. And like you say, unless you're aware of things like crystal healing, shamanic healing, Reiki healing, emotional code therapy, EFT, all of this sort of stuff, unless you're aware of it already, you would never ever consider going down the path of any sort of alternative healing route. And I think that's why it's even more important now for us doing what we do and getting the message out there and being on all these various platforms, just to make people aware that there is other ways to assist ourselves and to assist humanity with the helping of raising our vibration, working on our own energy, making people aware of how they can develop their own energy and again, it's part of this collective consciousness thing. You know, if everyone is on that same wavelength, then all the energy lifts and the vibration changes, and it's that connection of total humanity, of just this feeling of love and raising that vibration. And so many people are so unaware of it because they're so dumbed down by the whole system, really. Wow, what a journey you've been on.
I think that's why as well, when stuff comes up now, I think why I'm so relaxed about it, because it's not like it was then where you're trying to enjoy your honeymoon and you can't enjoy it in the way that you want to enjoy it because there's so much going on. But at the same time, I'm thankful for it. I am thankful for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a similar scenario as yourself, where I was in my early 20s. I was drinking quite heavily, and I smoked quite a lot back then, and went almost a bit like on a landslide, really. And it wasn't until my mid-20s that I started like I felt like different, and I didn't feel myself, but I just thought everyone else felt the same as me, until maybe in my late 20s I realized that I was suffering with depression and anxiety, and there was all this stuff that was going on, all these different traumas, and then I was on antidepressants as well, and it took a while to find the right sort of forms of medication that worked with me physically. And again, like you, which was such a similar path, really, it got to a point where I was just like, right, I need to come away from this and try to heal myself in other ways. And it was a friend of mine that introduced me to meditation, and he'd said, have you ever tried meditating? Because he became aware of my mental health and what was going on with me. And it wasn't until my first meditation session, which didn't really last that long, but it was just like, wow, there was just like a ping moment, like a eureka moment.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was I'd realized, because the meditation obviously gives you a great clarity of mind and focus and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that the job that I was in was making me feel like that and affecting me in that way. So I left that job and went to a totally different line of work. And then it wasn't until I went there that I discovered my now Reiki master. And I just saw these leaflets on this fireplace in this coffee shop, and I just saw Reiki, and I was just like, and then there was another ping went off, and I was like, what's that? And I mean, years previously, I did a martial art called Aikido, so I knew that Reiki, it was some form of energy. So, and then I found out that he actually came, and he was in the coffee shop pretty much every day. And I got to meet him and chat to him, and he explained Reiki a little bit more, give me leaflets, give me information on his website. Had a couple of sessions, and then I found out that he taught it, and I was just like, right, okay. And again, it was just like ping, and this is the way that I need to go. But before that, I discovered like crystals and how powerful crystals are as well, and then just gradually incorporated them into the Reiki practice, and watched many different YouTube videos of people's awakening journeys and where they've started, where they've come from, how they developed themselves. And it's just been a continuous journey of learning, and it still goes on now. I don't think we ever really I don't think we ever get to the point where we sat with kind of like 3D and awake. It's like it's a constant leveling and progression, and yeah, it's been quite a journey. And even for me, like there was a couple of times, probably in my mid-20s, late 20s, where I was hearing like voices around the house, and I was just like, what's that? And they were shouting my name, and they shouted my brother's name, and I was like scared shitless basically, and I was just like, what the hell what the hell's that? And then I felt a couple of my dogs that I used to have, they passed away, but then I started feeling them sort of jump up and land on the bed, and I was just like, okay, I don't know what that is, but it felt like a dog, but there was nothing there. And then yeah, it just kind of like went on from there. And then during my Reiki attunement processes, I was aware of a wolf, which I then found out was one of my spirit animal guides. And then I was aware of an eagle, which, there we go, and aware of an eagle, which was, again, is another spirit animal guide. And then it was probably after my level 1 that I became more aware of spirit guides and spirit energy. And there was this word kept resonating, and it kept resounding in my head, and I didn't know what it was. And it was the word Hayoka. And obviously Hayoka are like an empathic tribe of Native Americans. But this word kept coming up, and I was just like, if this is you trying to connect to me, can you give me another way to know? Because for all I knew, it could be me just cracking up and just thinking of whatever it was. And then the next day I put on my YouTube feed, and the first video on my YouTube feed was about Hayoka. And I was just like, right, okay. So, and then I watched the video and found out that that's who she was. And then I connected with her and found out it was a female, and just went on from there really. And then obviously the Akashic reading came in, and I found out there was other people and other things going on, and that just kind of like blew my mind.
It blows your mind, doesn't it?
Oh, I mean, she said, like, do you have an open mind? And I was just, well, yeah, I have now, And then when she started, I was just like, right, that open. It was absolutely crazy, but really, really good and really informative. And so much like just clicked. Everything just clicked and resonated with me on so many different levels. So yeah, that's fascinating. I've just written down here as well about your shamanic healing and Reiki. Do you have any tools yourself that you use, like crystals or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I mainly do it at distance now. Distance.
Yeah.
I mean, I've still got the summer house and everything, but we're moving. So, and I've been distant since pandemic. Yeah, I work with crystals. I've got angelic sprays that I work with. I've got tools over there. rattles. I've got the drum.
Yeah.
I sit in that chair, which is just in front of me there. But in the summer house, yeah, I've got everything. Well, not everything, but
Wow.
working with stones that you put, when you're moving energies from people, I've got stones that we put them in to put into the earth to.
I know that the drums and the rattles are supposed to be really good for clearing like aura debris, aren't they? And just removing all that negative energy or stagnant energy.
Yeah, and also when you can use a rattle, if you've done a lot of healing work, and it's what I was going to say, it's like someone's walked over my grave, that shivery feeling. It just helps to settle the energies all around the aura, under the feet, etc.
Yeah, I've just been in a shop today, and I've bought like a throw, and it's from like my favorite sort of mystic crystal shop in town, and I saw a couple of rattles, and I was just like, oh. Because they're just like, so, do you call them like maracas or something like that? They're a bit like shakers.
Yeah, you can use anything really, anything that makes sound. You can use maracas.
Yeah.
You get different ones as well for different things.
Yeah.
For different, you just know when you're working, you lay your tools out, and it's just weird. You just know which one.
Pull to it. Yeah.
You've got feathers as well, big feathers that you can scan the aura with as well, and you can actually feel energies pushing against it to like go away, Wow. Yeah.
Powerful stuff. So how did tarot enter your life?
Tarot has always been in my life since a teenager. I got my first deck as a teenager. Me and my mum used to read tarot, and she used to have a crystal ball because she was clairvoyant. But to be honest, when the first business I set up was a spa. It was called Mystical Garden, and I had a summer house and the hot tub, and I did afternoon teas. Because for I was doing all the spiritual courses, I got swayed into facials and massage, and I used to do spa packages in my back garden. I used to do afternoon teas, and then I remember it was February 2020. I had a dream that there was a flood where I live. That we don't flood. So I don't know why I was dreaming, but we had a flood, and the hot tub got washed away. And I ran into the house, and my Native American guide was stood in the kitchen, and he was just watching everything fly away in this water. But the summer house stayed. And I said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Stop it." I said, "We're flooding. The business has gone." And he said, "Let the business go. We'll work with spirit. We'll work with psychic gifts. We'll work with your spiritual gifts." And I woke up and I was really, really upset because I thought, does that mean my business is going to fail? What's going to come in that's going to change my business where I can't do hot tubs and have to do teas?
Yeah.
And in came the virus, COVID.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do skin on skin contact, opening a hot tub. I mean, it was lockdown, obviously, but even afterwards, I thought, I don't want to be that person, don't judge me for this, that makes people wear a mask for a massage. I don't want to be that, and I don't want to go into, I just don't want to do it. It wasn't me.
No.
And he basically said, because I hated talking on camera, he said, "You're going to have to go on YouTube." He showed me YouTube, and he said, "Go global." And I was like, "Go global? What do you mean? How do you go global with a smart business? How does that work?" And all he said was, "Go global." And now I see clients all over the world, Australia, Canada, US.
Yeah. It's
amazing. From UK as well.
Just distant, when you're doing the distance work, there's no ends. It's when you work in that local vicinity, there's only so much of a client pool that you can work from. But when you're working with everyone around the whole planet, there's people that need help. And so how do you I suppose stand out from everybody else then?
How do I stand up? I don't think I view myself as that, standing out. I think I'm just me. I'm just me. I think we all bring qualities to it. We all bring different qualities. Everyone does Reiki different. Everyone does shamanic healing different. But I try and bring everything that's happened to me in order to help other people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Rather than it just being stories that I tell people, I try and utilize it. So when someone tells me I think I'm going mad because I've seen, I don't know, John Lennon, or I've been raped, what do I do? My life's a mess, or I've got a drink addiction, or I use that, so I use it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it adds credibility and relevance to that person, doesn't it? And then obviously then you can, I suppose, cater and focus your business to that type of clientele. So if you have gone down the mental health path or the addiction route, then you have something to relate, and you know from your experience that what you've gone through has helped, and then you can help others with the same from the same story. So I'm guessing, how did you incorporate the tarot within everything? Do you work with everything else as well then? Do you incorporate that in with your various forms of healing?
To be quite, sometimes I will do. Sometimes the spirits say, you know, pull a card for them, I will pull a card. It's mainly at the beginning of a session. It wouldn't be like a tarot reading.
Yeah.
It'd be just a message that they need off the guides, off the higher self.
Yeah.
With shamanic healing, I'll attune to Reiki. I'll always have Reiki. And even with the readings, when I'm doing them in here or somewhere else, I always do the Reiki symbols.
Yeah.
Because it's a healing. I want it not, because I didn't want to just be the type of reader that just predicts. I wanted to be the type of reader, probably this is answering your previous question, that helped people. Because I remember going for readings and I was told, you'll meet this type of a man, you'll get this type of a job, you'll drive this car, and coming out thinking, well, how am I going to do it? Because at the minute I'm on antidepressants, can't stop drinking wine, and I hate life. So how does that go? How is that going to happen? So I try and bring it in that it's healing and more, which is why my readings are longer. For an hour. I mean, the tarot reading is for an hour. The crystal ball and tarot is for 2 hours, because we just go into the ways and means to bring this out as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking at the energies of everything.
Yeah. I know I like to give, like, well, whatever I'm drawn to, whether it be tarot or oracle card, I like to give that at the end of a distance Reiki session, you know, just to give them like a little bit of guidance from their higher self that they might need to incorporate into their life, or just to be aware of something that may be pending, or maybe something that they need to look at. But I think it is a really good tool to use alongside, like you say, because every aspect of it is healing on different levels. And I mean, I've been to tarot readers before many times in the past, and each time I've come away thinking, well, you know, well, you could have said that to anyone, really. You know, oh, you're feeling a bit like this, you're feeling a bit like that, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. And then not a lot of it really sort of resonated or happened. But then you go to, or you try and read for yourself. And like I did last night, I'd actually watched your journaling video again on YouTube with regards to using your oracle cards. So I did that, and I did an oracle card pull, and the 3 cards that came out were exactly specific to my current circumstances right now. And it was about knowing your direction, being the mirror that you are to create what you need for the future. And then the third one, which I can't remember what it was, I did write them down, but there was 3, but they were absolutely spot on. I was just like, wow, that is just like, so like to do that, you just think, well, you know, it could be anything, but to pull them out, to be able to feel the resonance within each card having a meaning, it's just every aspect of, I suppose, our journey is just, it's even mind-blowing to me. It's probably mind-blowing to you as well, you know, when you experience something. I mean, what are the chances of you wearing lapis and me having a piece, feeling drawn to hold a piece of lapis? Like,
it's weird. I very rarely wear this, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a lovely necklace, but I wouldn't wear it with this jumper. It's strange what you wear and what you don't wear with. And this morning I was really like, because I was going to put my glass beads on, which is blue, but a little glass bead necklace, and it was like, no. And I was like, no, I want to put my glass beads on. No. So there'll be stuff.
So there you go. Exactly.
Weird.
So how do you get your ideas for your YouTube channel?
Life stuff that's going on with me, stuff that I'm picking, channeling. When I'm doing like the reads on global reads that I do, what's going on globally, what's happening. So I'm in touch with the news, but I don't sit and watch it all day. Something will just come onto my radar, and I'll think, right, I'll do a video on that. I'll sit down and I'll just try. Sometimes I'll plan the week ahead, and sometimes it's just it comes and I just do it.
Genius. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably similar to me. It's like sometimes I just think, well, there's nothing really flowing, there's no ideas, so I just think, well, what's the point in pushing it? I'll just leave it, and eventually something will happen, something will come through, and then I'll do a video on that, or somebody may even suggest to do a video. But it's just interesting to find out how different people do their videos as well, because I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people feel that they need to make a video kind of like every single day, and it doesn't always work that way for everybody, does it? It's just, it has to be genuine, I think, and it has to have some sort of meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I didn't ever think I would do that myself. So I started a YouTube channel. A bit like you, like about just putting my face out there, and then building the confidence to be able to speak. Well, because you basically feel like you're just talking to yourself. So and over time you do. I mean, it's taken me probably 150 to 200 videos to actually get the confidence to just talk about whatever that pops in. Whereas when you look at my earlier videos, you just think, well, it was this idiot, it's like but it's just something that we have to do, and just kind of go through it, just to put that healing message out there, to make people aware of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you got any questions for myself?
For you, I wrote down a couple. How has your awakening impacted your life? As in, what changes did you have to make? Friend circles, work? Did you have to leave a job, etc., or where you lived?
Yeah, I haven't moved from where I've always lived in this house. Actually, I bought it off my parents, and then they decided to move. But I've always stayed in here, so this is like kind of like the family home.
Yeah.
And I did leave the job that I was at previously, because I was made aware through obviously the clarity of mind through meditation that it was actually the people and the job that was taking me to that sort of level. So that's how it kind of affected me in that way. How I looked at it was that kind of depression and that dark night of the soul, you could call it. I always think of that as kind of like my sort of springboard from where I started to where I had to go after that. But yeah, I mean, it has affected me quite a lot. I mean, a lot of the friends that I used to have and I used to go out drinking with, and all these people that you wanted to go out and have a good time, and me just trying to like sort of please the crowd, I suppose. Most of them like are gone now. And it's a totally different circle of people that are around me, that may not be kind of in the same town, but it's people that I know that I can connect to on the same level. And whatever I might think, say, feel, or whatever, they will have some sort of connection with that, or some understanding that may help me resolve it or understand it, and just to make me realize that, yeah, I'm not like going crazy or anything like that. It's all part of this wonderful process that we all have to go through.
Yeah, definitely. That is about with the people that just literally, I know when I did my first Reiki tune, when she said, you will find that very soon you'll start losing people. And she says, don't be upset by that, because they're not meant to be. And it was like Reiki 1, lost so many friends, Reiki 2, all the rest, Reiki 3, and it was like, whoa, bye. It was like, hello. It was just like, anybody out there? All there was just guides and power animals. And
yeah, it's a totally different, but you never feel alone.
No, you don't. No,
You
never.
never feel alone. And even when you are like physically alone in your own self, you're always happy, I think, because you know that there's actually so much more around you energetically, and what's going on around you. You're never alone. There's always somebody near, listening, on some etheric level, I suppose.
Definitely. And I think that's what probably helped awaken people from 2020 to 2021 with all these lockdowns, because they knew they weren't alone in the houses, that they knew how to get through that, and they could see the bigger picture. Whereas for those that want awakened, they absolutely flipped out, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, people really struggled with it, and especially those that had to live on their own.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people can struggle to understand that, especially people that need lots of people around them all the time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it really makes you kind of understand the people that can be on their own and that can manage on their own, and you know, they just kind of sail through life with not a lot of ups and downs, where there's so many people that have to rely on the system and mainstream media to let them know what's happening or what's allegedly happening each day, for them to think, oh well, I better not do that, I better not, you know, and it just puts the brakes on everything. And it's that whole stopping fear, dumbing down process that is having that, it's like it's the yin and yang thing, isn't it? It's dark, and it's constantly spiraling and turning. But I also think that, you know, from the start of COVID, it's had almost like a catalyst effect. It's created a lot of fear for people and put a lot of people in really dark places, but it's also woken a hell of a lot of people up.
Definitely.
People have just kind of like come out of it and just thought, well, what the hell is it that's going on now? And you know, even before all this came around, probably about 6 months before we actually found out about what was going on in China, something just popped in, and I just thought there's going to be a virus outbreak, and then 6 months later it starts, and I'm just like, wow. And then we had the whole thing with Trump coming in, and the march on Capitol Hill. I mean, and I was sat in a meditation, and I saw the headline picture of the men and Q in his furry hat stood on Capitol Hill in front of that building. That was the headline picture. I saw that in a meditation, and I didn't have a clue what it meant. And I was just like, well, what is it? And then months later, there it is. And I just look at the picture, and I'm just like, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But how can you explain?
How do you talk about it? You know, it can be isolating from that perspective, because you know, it's like I was trying to do a video this morning, and I said something similar, that it's coming again. I mentioned Capitol Hill, and I said, in the US, in UK, and in Australia, there's revolution coming, very similar to what we saw then, and it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a next wave of awakening when people start to see that, and why is this happening? About the suppression, and about elite, and about etc. And that's going to cause another load of
because I mean, this to me, what's going on in the UK at the minute with regards to the lifting of all these restrictions, it's just a cover up for the next stage of events. It's a cover up basically to try and take the focus away from Boris, and it's also a cover up, I feel, for the next stage of what we know as the Great Reset. You know, so what's the next thing that's going to be coming? It'll be interesting to see what plays out, and how it does get played out, and how they're going to play the hands. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to watch.
Definitely. Have you done any tarot readings for it?
I've done quite a few on YouTube for it. We can do some now. I've got some decks here. But I do think as well, because I think everything is a two-sided coin. So I think, for although the pandemic, it wasn't a natural event. But I don't think they I think they underestimated the fact that it would cause an awakening. So I think for every bad thing that happens, it's counteracted by an awakening. And I think this with Boris opening everything up again, because we've got the heart chakra here, I think it will work. They may be doing it in a negative to cover this up, to cover that up, but it's going to be a positive, because I'm seeing like ripples in a pond.
Yeah.
It's almost like it works against them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just shuffle some cards, and you'll end up doing a card. So what's the next stage? I think I actually spoke about that this morning on YouTube, what I think the next stage is. I said revolution, rebellion. civil war in some places.
Yeah.
A lot like what we've seen already.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to, and I talked about 9/11, and I said these global, I think there's some more global events to come that are going to be like mind blowers.
Yeah, I know.
But not so much to be scared of.
Was it, what are we on, 2022, 2021? So probably the back end of 2020, 2021, I'd said, be ready for civil war, because it is coming, you know, and you know, we see these mass protests and all around the world of stuff that's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, because this morning I was thinking about it, and I saw like members of our royal family being taken underground in tunnels to escape.
Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, when this comes, these are interesting. We've got 7 of Cups, which is illusion and delusion. So it's very much like what you've just said.
Yeah.
We've got something that's coming in. Ace of Pentacles, the new beginning in the UK.
Yeah.
But there's also some magic around it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
Well, it's dark and light magic, isn't it? It's all of us. We're kind of like doing what we can against it.
But it does lead to this new beginning. So no matter what happens, I still think it's already happening. It's not gonna. I mean, I mentioned this week as well about the galactics are coming in closer to Earth. People are seeing more craft, more lights. I know this week I got a download that there was something that was going to happen this week that the ladies have come in to stop that. Something to do with the reptilians. And this is why so many people this week globally, I've seen they've seen craft, they've seen clouds in the form of craft. I've seen it. They've seen lights in the sky. So they're coming in closer.
Yeah. I wonder if that's something to do with obviously. I'll share it on here, but obviously you messaged me yesterday about your friend that did that painting.
Yeah.
With regards to the painting that I've just done on my last YouTube video, and the connection between the two, just like it was uncanny, the resemblance between the two. And then you got the download about you know, how we've connected to like a higher state of consciousness, and there's this light that's coming in. And then obviously I'd mentioned to you about having these visions and these sort of grid shapes and formations that were happening in my third eye. But then I'd asked you, it would be interesting to know if she's had similar experiences, and you said she'd had.
Yeah. It's weird, that painting, because at first I was like, I wonder if they know each other, and she's promoting his painting. So I messaged her and I asked her, and I was like, that is just colours and everything, same colours. It was just like, I think that's the portal that's been here since just January 1st.
Yeah.
It's probably still here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, hers is like white light coming out of it, which has affected the Schumann's been shocking this past month. Mercury retrograde's packed a punch, full moon's packed a punch. But one thing I'm getting with these cards is whatever the elite give us, the magic works both ways. So they may be dabbling in something dark, but we're using light magic.
Yeah.
Whatever gets delivered, we're turning it around. It's almost like I can see us all as, not when I say spelling, I don't mean doing dark magic, I mean alchemy, soul alchemy, awakening alchemy.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree there. Totally agree. We'll just finish on because it's getting to like maybe 5 minutes or so. But I just thought, what's your thoughts on guides? How do you connect with your guides, and what's your belief that they are?
Guides, what's my belief that they are? I believe they've been with us through many lifetimes, and I believe they've been with us all the time. But I believe we also need to give permission for them to step in, if that makes sense. It's kind of a two-way relationship. We've got to show them that we're ready. They're not intrusive. I think we've got hundreds of guides. We've got our main circle of guides that are with us all the time, but then we can connect into guides that'll come in. I know shamanically you'll get guides that you'll work with for some time, then they'll step out, then another guide will come in, and so on. So, but you'll always have your core guides. Mine, well, I think I've always been connecting. I remember when I was going through my rape case, I got a sickness bug, and I remember hearing this voice that said, "I want you to stay near the toilet." It's a bit too much information. And every time you vomit, I want you to visualize all of that anger and trauma and abuse coming up and down to the toilet and being flushed away.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this? And I did it, and I sat and I did that all night. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
That was my guide. The same when he stepped in with the antidepressants.
Release it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was when I got attuned to Reiki 1 that he came in. I started to see him, and then each one stepped in.
Yeah. So how would you say differentiate the difference? Because obviously there is dark entities out there, and there is obviously light entities in your guides. How would you know the difference between, say, if something dark wanted to try and attach, and it wasn't actually a guide, but was coming through in the guise of someone that was a helper?
Yeah. Your energy, you can feel quite anxious. You can start to feel aggressive. That's a big indication when you start to get really aggressive.
Yeah.
The energy feels really weird. It's like a frequency, like you're tuning of a radio that crackles and then it goes clear. Well, it's like that. It's like you'll open your cards and it's like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I tend to feel it when there's something on telly, something like a Hollywood movie or something, and I'll just like get back.
Yeah.
We're well protected. Once you start doing this, you become well protected, but you also have to watch things like feeling aggressive, dropping in temperature, a nasty smell. It's something that just doesn't come from love.
Yeah. I know when obviously I mentioned the Hyoka and connecting to that, but when I did ask, is this you? And then I just got this wash of just total bliss and love, just all run through my whole body. And then after that, I was getting the name, and I just repeating over and over again. And I said, "Is this your name?" And again, this wash of love just going through my whole body, and it was so overwhelming, but just so beautiful. I just didn't want it to end. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that feeling of sort of anxiousness and anger and all these sort of negative feelings that we could sort of feel in the 3D world that aren't of that realm of the higher levels.
Yeah, and they never do anything that scared you. I've heard people saying, "Oh, I've got this lovely ghost in my house, and you know, it knocks my ornament off every night, and he's lovely." And I think that's not a nice ghost. Nice ghosts don't knock ornaments off.
Yeah.
Nice ghosts don't switch lights on and off. Nice ghosts don't put your radio up to full blast. Nice ghosts don't just appear, or beings that, you know, guides, or that's a good indication as well when you actually feel quite scared by it.
Yeah.
That you know it's not legit.
I did once ask my guides to just sort of show themselves and prove themselves, and just to like make evidence that they were there. And the words that I got through was, "We don't do parlor tricks," and that was
yeah.
I was like, right, okay then. Fine. But I think sometimes we just need to feel almost you know, we're just assured, don't we? Just need to feel. But like you say, everything within this line of work that we are in, it's all about that feeling and that intuitive pull to what it is and to what we feel, just to know that it's right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we've had about an hour, so if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Absolutely flown over. But yeah, it's been lovely to speak with you, Claire. Like I say, I've really enjoyed it and look forward to it. We must do it again soon. I'm sure we can find many other things to talk about, and maybe focus on maybe one thing. I don't know, but it's just nice, I think, for people to get an overall view of who we are, what we are, what we do, and you know, how we are here to try and help everyone when we can. So yeah, I will speak to you soon, and you take care of yourself. Again, thank you very much for making the time to join me, and bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Claire, take care.